Hey folks, so normally I keep politics off the channel, but it's a little hard to these days because it affects business or is affecting business in general. So, but I think it may have a positive effect on the sales and such in the antiques business. In Canada, that is. Not so much the US. They're going to be losing a lot of Canadian customers. So I'm really wondering how their sales are going to be, especially in states that border the US, where there's a lot of Canadian traffic, or used to be a lot of Canadian traffic over that border, and Canadians shopping at American antique shops in places like Minnesota, North Dakota, Maine, Montana, Washington, etc. So I'm wondering, if you own an antique shop in the US, let me know kind of below in the comments what you're experiencing, if you're feeling any effects yet, as to whether you've got Canadian customers coming through, or had a lot of Canadian customers in the first place and are wondering whether they're going to show this time. So a lot of people are not crossing that border, and definitely not flying. You're finding flights that are near empty in a lot of cases, totally void of Canadian travelers. I forget what the stats are. I know it's well over 80% drop in traveling to the U.S. A lot of people canceling their plans, and a lot of businesses now are being affected. Hotels, B&Bs, lodges, etc., and everything in between and around those facilities. So I really wonder what kind of business there's going to be for the antique shops down there. Kind of makes me worried for my fellow dealers. But it may have a positive effect for us here in Canada. The dealers in Canada, I'm finding even online, I'm getting more Canadian buyers as well, which is interesting. And being that some products are just scarce and not necessarily available across Canada, I might be the only guy online that has a certain item, but somebody in the States will have that item, and possibly cheaper shipping even. But I'm finding, like I said, that I'm selling more to Canadians than ever before. So there's been a boost there. The whole Shop Canadian drive has really increased a lot of Canadian sales across the board in different areas, not just the antiques business. A lot of people are not buying American products. They're simply looking at where the product was manufactured and buying based on that, not necessarily price anymore either. So it's Shop Canadian is the mantra basically for a lot of people here. But it seems to be trickling over a bit into the antiques business. And like I said, it's not like we're all ordering from the same wholesale catalogs either. So there's only so much product out there of a certain type available. So if a collector wants an item and there's only one available and it's in the States, they're going to buy it from the States. But if there's more than one available and one's in Canada, they may gravitate towards the Canadian seller. So that kind of does help the Canadian antiques dealer, collectibles dealers. Now, another aspect that helps is the tourism that is going to be staying in Canada rather than going to the U.S. So maybe people will, or I know people will be traveling within Canada and being not hometown tourists necessarily, but traveling across Canada. We are a pretty big country. And I'm located right on the Trans-Canada Highway, #1 highway. So I'm hoping that there'll be more tourists coming through this year. I have been in business for 5 years at this location now, so I'm well known enough, or known enough that I'm here, and my Google presence is established, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm hoping that there'll be more tourist traffic here. That waits to be seen. I am getting a little more already than normal, so I'm cautiously optimistic that this year is going to be actually a pretty decent year, despite the political climate. Now, if something major happens, invasion or the attempted takeover of Canada or whatever, there's going to be issues, obviously. But I think if it just the rhetoric continues, and there's still a drive to stay within Canada and keep your money within Canada, I think it'll business will increase. And now I've also heard a lot of U.S. folks I've seen on different forums about shopping within Canada and such. I've seen posts from U.S. citizens that are going, we support you, and we're going to come to Canada, and we're going to be tourists, and we're going to shop in Canada. We're going to spend our money in Canada, order from Canadian sellers, et cetera, et cetera. So there's support there as well. So we may have a lot more income in the antiques business, sort of an unexpected result of Trump's actions. It definitely has united Canada. There's the even Quebec is, which is known to want to separate and such. They're rallying with with a lot of patriotism for Canada as well. So yeah, we're united now. But as it relates to business, I think we're going to maybe be doing better in general, save for some major disaster of some kind, I suppose. But I think overall, I think we may do well. Fingers crossed. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble. I do appreciate your views and such, and welcome to all the new subscribers as well. Really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. And if you haven't already and you want to keep track of the business and what's going on behind the scenes, etc., check out new inventory that I've picked up, and get some tours of different places I've picked and the like, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. Be sure to like and subscribe, as I mentioned, and check out our other videos on antiquing, picking, thrifting, and scrapping. And take care.